Close your eyes for 1 second and picture this. You walk into a bank in a new country. The room is quiet and serious. People are holding papers and waiting their turn. You need to open a bank account, or maybe you have a problem with your card and you must explain it in English. You don't want to feel stupid. You don't want to speak for 10 minutes. You just want to say the right thing. Get help and leave feeling calm. Stay with me because today you are going to learn simple English for the bank. I'm Zane. Welcome to Zane's English podcast. I speak in natural, slow English so you can understand and copy the sentences. Today, I'll tell you a real lifestyle story about a bank visit, and then we will do a repeat after me practice with the most useful sentences. Let's begin. A few months ago, I had to go to the bank on a Monday morning. I didn't want to go because banks usually take time, and Monday mornings feel busy. But I needed to do it because I had two problems. First, I wanted to open a new account for savings. Second, my debit card was acting strange and it was being declined sometimes. Declined means the payment does not go through and the machine says no. That happened twice in 1 week and it made me nervous. So I decided to go to the bank and fix everything in one visit. Before I left home, I prepared carefully. I checked the bank's website to see what documents I needed. Documents means official papers like ID and proof of address. I saw that I needed an ID and I needed proof of address. Proof of address can be a bill or a letter with your name and your address. I also brought my debit card and my phone, because sometimes the bank sends a code by text message. I put everything in a folder so I wouldn't lose anything. Then I walked to the bank. When I arrived, I saw a line near the entrance. There was a small machine that printed ticket numbers. People were holding small paper tickets and sitting on chairs. I stood there for a moment and watched. A sign said, "Please take a number and wait." So I pressed the button and then the machine gave me a ticket. My number was B27. I sat down and waited and I tried to stay relaxed. I told myself, this is not an exam. I can use short English. I can ask one question at a time. While I waited, I looked around the room. Some people were talking to bank employees at desks. Some people were using the ATM in the corner. The ATM area looked busy too. A man near me looked frustrated and was speaking fast on his phone. I didn't want to feel like that. I wanted to be calm and clear. So I took out my notebook and wrote two simple goals. Open a savings account, fix my debit card problem. Writing it down helped my mind feel organized. After about 15 minutes, a screen beeped and showed my number. It said B27, desk 4. I stood up, walked to the desk 4 and sat down. The bank employee smiled politely and said, "Good morning. How can I help you today?" I smiled back and started with the first goal. I said, "Hi, I'd like to open a bank account, please." I kept my voice slow and clear. The employee nodded and asked, "What kind of account do you need?" I understood the question, but I wanted to keep it simple. I said, "I'd like a savings account." The employee opened a form on the computer and asked for my ID. I said, "Sure," and handed it to her. Then she asked, "Do you have proof of address?" I was ready for that. I said, "Yes," and gave her a bill with my name and address. She checked it and typed information. While she typed, she asked a few simple questions, like my phone number and my email address. She also asked if I wanted online banking. Online banking means using the bank's app or website to manage your account. I said yes, because it is convenient. Then she said she would send a code to my phone to confirm my number. Confirm means prove it's really your phone. My phone buzzed and I read the code to her. After that, she explained some details about the account. She talked about fees and minimum balance. Fees are extra costs you pay for the account. Minimum balance is the smallest amount of money you must keep in the account. She spoke clearly, but the words still felt a little new. I listened carefully and asked her to repeat one part. I said, "Sorry, can you repeat that, please?" She repeated more slowly, and I understood better. Then I said, "Okay, thank you." Soon, the employee printed some papers and placed them on the desk. She pointed to the places where I needed to sign. She said, "Please sign here and here." I signed slowly and checked my name. Then she said, "Great, your account is open." I felt relief because the first goal was done. She gave me information about my new account and told me that a new card would arrive by mail in a few days. Mail means regular post delivery. I said, "Perfect, thank you." Now it was time for the second goal, the debit card problem. I took my card out and placed it on the desk. I said, "I also have a problem with my card." The employee looked at the card and said, "What seems to be the problem?" That means, "What is happening?" I explained with simple sentences. I said, "My card was declined 2 times this week. I had money in my account, but the payment didn't work." I tried to stay calm because I didn't want to sound angry. The employee nodded and asked me where it happened. I said, "Once at a supermarket and once at a cafe." She typed again and looked at her screen. She said it could be a security block. A security block means the bank stops the card to protect you. Sometimes they do this if they think a payment looks unusual. She asked if I traveled recently. I said no. She asked if I tried to buy something expensive. I said no, just normal payments. Then she asked if I used the card online. I said yes, a few times. She said the bank system sometimes blocks cards after certain online payments. I didn't love that, but I understood the idea. Then she said, "Let's check if your card is still active." Active means it works and is not blocked. She clicked a few buttons and said, "Okay, I can see the card was blocked for security." She asked if I wanted to unblock it. Unblock means make it work again. I said yes. She asked me to confirm my identity again, and she sent another code to my phone. I gave her the code. Then she said, "Okay, your card is unblocked now. It should work." I felt a wave of relief because that problem was causing stress. But I wanted to be sure because I didn't want the same problem tomorrow. So I asked a follow-up question. I said, "Can you tell me why it was blocked?" The employee explained again, and she also told me what I could do next time. She said I could call the bank hotline if my card was declined. Hotline is a phone number for help. She also said I could use the bank app to see notifications. Notifications are messages on your phone. That sounded helpful. I said, "Okay, thank you." Before I left, I decided to ask one more practical question. I asked, "What are your opening hours?" Opening hours means When the bank is open. I wanted to know for the future. She told me the hours and also said the bank closes earlier on Fridays. Then she asked, "Is there anything else I can help you with?" I thought for a second and said no. I didn't want to create new problems. I just wanted to leave while everything was good. I stood up, put my documents back in my folder, and thanked her. I said, "Thank you for your help. Have a nice day." She smiled and said, "You too." When I walked out of the bank, I felt lighter. I felt like I handled an adult situation in English without panic. I didn't speak perfect English. I didn't use fancy words. I just used short, clear sentences. And I asked questions when I needed to. That is exactly what I want for you. On the way home, I stopped at a small shop and bought a bottle of water. It was a small test. I paid with my debit card and it worked. The payment went through and the screen said approved. Approved means yes, it worked. I smiled to myself because it was such a simple thing, but it felt like a win. It reminded me that real life English is not about big vocabulary. It's about small sentences that help you solve real problems. Now let's do repeat after me. Speak slowly and clearly. Repeat each sentence. Hi, I'd like to open a bank account, please. I'd like a savings account. What documents do I need? Here is my ID. Here is my proof of address. Can you repeat that, please? Are there any fees? What is the minimum balance? I want online banking, please. Can you send a code to my phone? Please sign here. My card was declined. The payment didn't work. I had money in my account. Is my card blocked? Can you unblock my card, please? Is my card active? Can you tell me why it was blocked? What should I do next time? What are your opening hours? Thank you for your help. Have a nice day. If you stayed with me until the end, remember this. The bank is not a place for long conversations. It's a place for clear questions and clear answers. If you can say what you need, show your documents, and ask for help calmly, you can handle it. Save this video and listen again before your next bank visit. Write down 3 sentences you want to remember and practice them out loud. The next time you walk into a bank, you will feel more ready and your English will feel more natural. I'm Zane, this is Zane's English Podcast, and I'll see you in the next video.